Hello, hello, and welcome to Unfiltered Eat Better, Think Better series. This is where we get real about our emotions, mindset, connection to food, and healing, and what it really takes to break free and feel good in your body and life again. I'm your host, Jaini Shah, and in this series, I sit down with everyday people who face challenges with their health, their body, their mind, their confidence, or long held beliefs that have held them back and found powerful ways to rise and grow through it all. These are real stories. There's no filters, no fluff, just raw conversations about what they struggled with, what actually happened, and how they created transformation from the inside out. Whether you're on your own journey or just curious on what's possible, you're in the right place. So here's to eating better, thinking better, and living a phenomenal life. Let's go. Today, I want to introduce a really cool and awesome guest, Jen. Jennifer Jane Young, to be precise. But Jen and I met in the most serendipitous way. It was through this online marketing mastermind program group thing. And what sort of started off as casual conversations about business and creativity kind of just turned into deeper conversations about all things from intuition, trust, beliefs, and then, eventually our relationship with money. So she's not only a dear friend and an RTT client of mine, but also someone I deeply admire for how she leads, serves, and inspires others to listen to their inner yes. I'm also a part of her beautiful community called the Yes Collective, where other like-minded people gather together on this journey to really listen and tap into their intuition and be guided to say yes to our real yeses. So I'm so grateful to be part of that community. And I just have to say, I'm proud of myself with the growth that I'm experiencing through it, thanks to Jen's guidance as well as the full collective. So I'm sure Jen can tell us more about that later. Officially introducing Jennifer Jane Young, who is an intuitive leadership coach and business consultant to entrepreneurs and business leaders around the world. She's an international speaker and the author of Say Yes to Your Yes: How to Trust Your Gut and Take the Leap. Since 2011, Jen's leadership journey has spanned continents, from leading a community of over 5,000 entrepreneurs for the International Trade Center as a United Nations consultant to advising startups and multi-million dollar businesses. Through her workshops, talks, and her signature podcast, Finding Your Flow, she's helping global entrepreneurs and leaders change the paradigm in how they lead their businesses, transforming lives in the process. Today, we're going to dive into a conversation that so many of us can relate to, and that's our relationship with money, what it represents, what even is that, and how our self-worth beliefs, our experiences shape the way we receive, create, as well as lead. And Jen's journey with money is really interesting. It's one of deep reflection, intuition, and I can't wait to hear all about it. So, Jen, before we kind of dive into everything that you've discovered, I'm just really curious because as I was doing this intro, I was thinking about it. And, if someone had once told me, oh, look at your relationship with money, I would have been like, what on earth are you talking about? Like, what even is that? That's not something that I would have come across or even thought about or thought is something that would be blocking my abundance. So how did you come across or even recognize this idea that, hey, maybe I need to look at my relationship with money?
Yeah. I mean, I think we see a lot of people struggle with money, right? And so we just assume that it's like a normal thing, because it's kind of like the majority of what we often see. And especially now in our world today, life has gotten so much more expensive and a lot of things have changed. Being in the entrepreneurial world, I also saw a lot of people who are really thriving with money, like that it wasn't so hard. And for me, it had always been really hard. It was like I was thinking about this morning. I felt like I was constantly at war with money. Like that's how drastic it was. And I just got used to living like that. And so I figured, I guess this is it. I guess this is how I'm going to live with money for the rest of my life. But talking about intuition, like intuitively, I knew that there was a different way to have an experience with money. I knew that there was life did not need to be so hard. And so this is what I teach, right? And with intuitive living is that when we are in alignment in our lives, like from the inside out, life flows. It's just everything is so much easier. There's no hustle and struggle. There's the ups and downs of life, and so I figured like if that's true for everything else in life, that must be true for money as well.
Yeah.
And I think when I met you, I was just so tired of the struggle
Mm.
that I was just like, please take over. Like, just please take over and help me get through this.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was like a deep, deep desire to just have some ease in my life and not have to work so hard.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point to explore a little bit that before, because a lot of us may be going through this challenge. I, in fact, didn't realize I had different weird, strange restrictions or beliefs around money until I started doing this work a lot more. But what was your sort of mindset and your day to day? Because you mentioned struggle and it was always really hard. So, what was it like for you before you started exploring this?
Yeah. I want to add something to what you just said before I go into that explanation. The reason why we don't often see that we have issues around money is that we see all we see is the topic of money, right? And actually, the struggle is not with money. The struggle is with things so much deeper than money. It's with our self-worth and value and um, it's so many other things, like depending on what your experience has been with money. So
Ah,
it's actually other issues underneath the money that we need to heal that then just allows the money to flow a lot easier. So before our work together, it looked like me working really, really hard all the time, and being in this state of survival and feeling like the only way to have more money in my life was to work harder, to do more, to push harder. And so it was like I was on this marathon of my whole life that never ended of just working really, really hard to have money come into my life. And what it looked like is money just like kind of trickling in, like if there's like a kink in a hose and it's just like sprouting out a little bit.
yeah,
And then I'd work harder to try to get a few more drops out and then work harder to try to get a few more drops out. And at the end, all I had was like a little bit of of the water that I wanted. Um, and then I would kind of end in despair and then feel like I wasn't enough, I didn't do enough, I'm clearly not valuable enough. So it all had to do with worthiness. And so I must have to work harder because clearly the universe is not happy with what I did and how much I did.
yeah,
Um, and it's so counterintuitive to learn to do less and relax more in order for money to flow easier into your life. But it's literally the way forward. Like when you're in a survival state, you're completely blocking everything energetically. Like you can't fully receive anything really, whether it's money or love or joy or whatever it is. So it
yeah.
was a huge learning process with you to just stop the hustle and learn to relax and not do all the time.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because we also see it around us so much, the whole thing about work hard to earn more. And sometimes, yes, that works. And then sometimes it really doesn't. And if you are working hard and you're not kind of seeing the results of it, then you're right. It's not about the money. There's something
No,
deeper behind it that's going on.
100%. a
Yeah.
100%. I would say when it does work, if you work really hard and there's a flood that comes in, it's not like a sustainable flow.
Mm.
And that's what I wanted. I didn't want like just because I had many times over in my life big chunks come in and then I blinked and I was like, where'd everything go? You know? So it's the feast or famine or the survival state that it's like imagine if you didn't eat for a week and then someone would put a huge plate of food in front of you, you'd like devour it,
Yeah.
right? Because you're starving. And so when you're starving for money, when it comes in like that, um, it goes right back out kind of thing. And so what I was looking for is like this more of like slow, sustainable flow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
remember when we spoke, there was that initial idea of the feast and famine, around money and continuously
Yeah.
going through that cycle of you
Yeah.
receive something and then you're like, where's it all gone? And then it
Yeah.
comes and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hundred
Yeah.
percent.
And by the time we met, so you mentioned that you were at a point where you were like, please just take over and support me. Was there something that happened, or was it a series of things that had happened that made you realize, you know what, something just has to change now?
I had tried literally everything. I had literally tried everything. And I think I was starting to get like the intuitive hit that it was more gentleness around this topic that I needed. And that's what attracted me to you is your very gentle energy. You're very calm, you're very gentle, and there was no sense of like forcefulness around the topic or what we were going to do together. Um, and I was just so ready to try something different. You know, like that quote that says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same results.
Yeah.
Kind of like people who go on diets. If we're
Mm,
talking about like money, eating and food and all that stuff, it's like people do diets their entire life and they just keep coming back to the same place over and over again. Um, until they try something completely new. And so for me, the RTT was something completely new. It required me to really surrender and let go, which was the hardest thing for me. And when I did, I don't know if you remember what came up for me when we did after our first session, but like I could not believe the gunk that came out
mm,
after our session. I was like, oh my God. No wonder life has felt so hard. If I had all of this stuff that I couldn't even see
yeah.
that was clogging up my energetic system, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I do remember that. In fact, I was going through our notes earlier just to be like, what was really going on beneath the surface? And you're right, like all those beliefs around the worthiness and I'm not worthy of this and I don't deserve this abundance was
Yeah.
blocking you from actually, even when you do the hard work, from getting what you needed to do because you just didn't believe that you deserved it.
Right. 100%.
And letting that go or understanding it. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
you tell us like what through that sort of work that we did, what did you learn from this?
I really, really learned to value myself,
Hmm.
to value myself and my presence in the world. And like obviously, oftentimes when we have these kinds of issues that we keep hitting the same walls with over and over in our life, it comes from some sort of conditioning or trauma from our past, right? And so my trauma around money was all related to worthiness when I was young and, stuff that happened around the topic of money that somehow got me to believe that I had to work really hard to receive peace, receive like all kinds of things, you know? And so all of those efforts that I had been putting in for years on working on the money, I was like, that was all so pointless. Literally, all I had to do was turn inwards and learn to value myself enough to have different expectations towards life in general and people and work relationships and all kinds of things. Um, and so I really learned over the last year and a half, approximately, like to just to relax. Like I think I needed to learn to relax. When you feel like you're not worthy, you're always working really hard to compensate for everything all the time, for everything that you feel like is not enough in what you're doing and what you're saying and how you're being. And so just learning to just be and relax into life. And I remember how many times I resisted that in our work together with you. And I would get really angry. I don't know if you remember. I don't even dare go back and listen to our
All
audio
those
message.
voice notes.
Oh my God. There was so much anger coming up. Like it was insane. And I was literally like fighting my own worthiness. I was, you would, I don't remember what you would say, but you would share something back with me that would help me see what was going on. And I would fight it. I'd be like, no, but, you
Yeah.
know? And it was just, so I saw how badly I was at war with myself, essentially, which was causing the war with the money in my life.
With the money. Yeah, exactly. And there were a couple of other things, if I recall correctly, that you've kind of mentioned that you did a whole bunch of other things as well. So were those
Yeah.
other things just directly related to money in its literal sense? And what were some of those things?
I mean, I read a bajillion books. I did a course on money. I implemented the best system in the world for entrepreneurs, Profit First, which I still use is amazing. I did all the practical things. I did all the external things, and all those things are really great tools. But without the deeper foundational work on the subconscious, which is where all of our little demons hide, where all the answers are actually, I guess to be more clear, all the answers to unlocking the paths that are going to make our life better, I realize are just all hidden in the subconscious. And we can't get there like just by living life and doing the external things, right? We have to be ready to go deeper and we have to feel safe with whoever is guiding us to go deeper, even if we're doing it like on our own. So, I just did all the external things. And, the books that I read were great. The courses I did were great, but my habits were not changing internally. So no matter how many books I read, because I was still showing up in the same way in my life from that place of trauma, I was just experiencing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, yeah, true. And so how would you say your RTT session or the work that we've done together has supported you in anchoring these new beliefs of worthiness?
Um, well, I think anytime I see myself uh trying to hustle to fix anything in my life, whether it's money or anything else,
Oh,
I stop myself, you know, because I know that that's not the way to achieve whatever results I want to achieve. And so I'm even more attuned to my nervous system, which I was before. I'm a yoga therapist, but not enough to pay attention to my own habits and stressors. So I would say that I see it a lot quicker, what's going on, and I tend to my nervous system a lot quicker because when we're in our calm state, our rest and digest, it's a lot easier then to be able to go deeper and see what's really going on.
yeah.
Uh, and I think it really helped me to like to drop the armor, to drop the weapons, to drop the whole war thing that was going on in my life with myself, and really learn to be more gentle and kind with myself, with anything that's going on.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think I've told so many people about RTT because I'm just like, oh my God, if people really understood where the root problem is coming from that is keeping them stuck in these loops, so many of us would get unstuck so much faster. And it's not like a snap of a finger kind of thing, right? Like we have to show up and do the work. And, I was telling, or I think you told me, Jen, you've been wired like this for 40 years. Like you need time to unwire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And to sink in those. Um, you work with a lot of creatives and entrepreneurs. Why do you think money brings up so much emotion or fear or resistance for people like us?
Oh my God. It comes back to our value, right? Because when we're entrepreneurs, it's not like someone is just like dropping a paycheck in our bank account every day.
Yeah.
Our paycheck comes from what we put in, really, to our business. And so when we're putting into our business and we're not getting back, there's this immediate feeling of like, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not doing enough. People must not want what I have to offer. We have all these stories going on in our head, right? Because we tie so much our revenue to our worth and how we value ourselves, when oftentimes it has actually nothing to do with that at all. Um, because money is just a tool like anything else, like our laptop that we're using right now to do our interview or the pen that we use to write. It's just literally just a tool. So it's we see money as like a very personal thing.
Mm.
Like we tie it to ourselves in a very personal way when if we can like create space there and detach who we are personally and our value in the world and like what's going on with money, we can have a lot clearer perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
y-
so true. I gotta say, I think before I was a lawyer. So I was like working, had a steady job, had a steady income. I never really had to answer that question of, revenue equals worth. And so when I did become sort of a solopreneur and I just opened my own business, that's the
yeah,
first time I think it hit me that hang on, if I'm not getting a consistent income, what does that actually mean about me? And
yeah,
that's where you start to then question your beliefs because a lot of the times we've also been brought up either by people around us, our parents, or society in general, that
yeah,
revenue defines your level of success, defines your level of worth. And for the first time, that actually started to creep up on me because I wasn't earning the amount. And then when people would ask, like, oh, are you doing well? Are you still okay? Like,
yeah,
I would start to question and be like, am I doing okay? Like, I don't know. I know I'm definitely helping people. I'm definitely creating impact and changing
yeah,
lives. But when it comes to the money aspect of it, I'm like, oh my God, hang on. No, I'm not earning as much as I was when I was a lawyer. But does that change my level of worth? No, I've come to understand that it doesn't. And again, that's through doing the work, through going and peeling the layers behind that. But yeah, there's just too much around that money equals success or worth or whatever it is.
totally. And like, if we use a concrete example to prove this point, you might have experienced this before. I just experienced this week again. I was trying to get something working in my business that was like stuck and it wasn't really working. And I've started a coaching program with an amazing coach, and we had a coaching session, and we brought something up in the session. She was coaching me that got me really upset and angry, like I was getting in our RTT sessions. And I was like, okay, this is happening again. There's clearly something here. And I was resisting what she was, proposing to do. And then we ended the session. I worked through the emotional thing, and I was like, okay, this is not like I have to detach myself a little bit from this. I calmed myself and then I went and did the thing that she proposed, and it was like it worked so well and so easily, and it felt really good actually, like what she had told me to do. And I was like, okay, literally, if I look at it now, I'm the same person. Nothing changed in terms of my worth and my value and how people see me. It was just a different approach or a different strategy. And once I was able to remove the emotional charge from it and stop taking the whole thing so personally, then I was able to like unlock another path. So it literally has nothing to do with our value, because you try one strategy, it doesn't work, you try another one and it works. You're the same Jaini. Nothing has changed in Jaini in terms of like how valuable you are in the world.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. And I think that's why when you can continue to build up those values, like first you understand what are the underlying limiting beliefs or thoughts that I have about myself. Once you start to then be able to build that up, build your self-worth, build your self-praise, your self-esteem, if that's the case for what it is for you, then you can get to this position where you are able to remove yourself and
Yeah.
just and work through it. So what
Yeah.
would you say now are your sort of feelings or thoughts or reactions around money, and how is it flowing for you now? Is it any different? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's definitely flowing with a lot more ease and just I'm not making um a big scenario around what it means when it doesn't flow because money sometimes flows and doesn't and it's just like there's ebbs and flows of it. So whereas before when it things were not going well, I would take it so personally, I would get so upset and I would be like shaming myself essentially. So now when things there's dips or things are not working or I'm not so reactive about it, I don't like start to freak out and spiral and start to create all these stories around why this is happening to me and my worthiness and all of that stuff. So I'm just a lot more neutral about it, a lot more relaxed. And also when I really stop myself now. When things are not going as well as I would like financially, I used to get on my computer and like what else do I need to create? What else do I need to do? How many more emails do I need to send? And I don't do that anymore. So when things are not going well, I'm like I this is not the time to do anything. When I'm in this state of like concern. So my whole wiring around how I react to the fluctuation of money has really changed. I would say I respond in a lot more calm and intentional way, which has been like so nice on my nervous system.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like a much more peaceful way of living
Yeah,
than before.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
I
Yeah,
think
I
no, go on.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I feel that too as well, that before it would be like when I didn't see enough coming in, I'd be like, go, 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 create, push, follow up. And it's not like that resulted in anything more. Whereas now, actually, when you can be in the state of abundance, of gratefulness, and
Yeah,
then start to work from that space, you're actually more likely to receive what you need to receive in that moment, rather than taking action from that scarcity mindset and like, I have to go, and I have to get stuff.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I totally get that, that you operate from a different mindset. And that can then have an impact, a ripple effect, actually, on the rest of your life. Because imagine your nervous system just being more calm now. You don't have
yeah,
to have these days of crazy burnout and whatever else it was for you.
totally. And I actually allow myself sometimes to just like take the day off in those moments or rest or go read a book or not go into that spiral. It reminds me of like, when you go for a massage and you have a big knot in your back and
Mhm.
like the massage therapist is trying to like work out the knot. Like if you tense up and get all rigid,
Yeah,
it's going to hurt more and two the therapist can't release it, can't work through it. But if you just relax and breathe, all the tension around that knot kind of just melts away and then the therapist can just kind of work it out a lot easier. It's literally the same thing with money is like if we tense up around it and we get all rigid and intense, nothing's gonna flow.
yeah, exactly. And how do you feel this shift of mindset has had an impact on your life and your business?
I think there's just a lot more joy in everything I'm doing. Um, and just a detachment around the external material things, in my life and I feel like my mental health is so much better because I'm not creating all these big, unkind, scary stories in my head anymore.
It's true.
So it's just like my quality of life in general has enhanced in so many ways.
Yeah, no, I think that's the beauty of working with the deeper level, with the subconscious mind and uncovering those patterns is that you can now really have better stories about yourself in your mind and at a level that's 6,000 times more powerful. So it really does surface up and then convert into your reality.
That stat blew my mind. I could not believe that like our subconscious was 6,000 times more powerful than our conscious mind. That in and of itself was like, why have I been pushing so hard consciously all these years? Like it's literally your conscious mind can't win against your subconscious mind. So we have to go deeper. Like that's where our power is. And that's where we can also be stuck in like a prison, like an internal prison, really.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely. All right. As we start to wind up, there's a question that I ask everyone. But before I ask that question, I just want to actually open the floor to you if there's anything else you wish to share or say as it relates to your journey with money, or if you want to share about say yes, because I've been loving it. Honestly, I've been loving it in the community. So yeah, I just want to open the floor for you if there's something you want to share.
Yeah. Well, two things. One, I would say, like, you are so worth taking the time to do this deeper work. Because if not, this baggage that is causing whatever blockages in your life, you will continue to carry your entire life. And that's really heavy. It's really, really heavy. And so sometimes the initial work to do is hard. It brings up a lot of stuff. Um, I can say 100,000% that there was no one else I would want to do this work with because you just help us feel so safe. Um, and so it's just really worth doing this deeper work. Like we all need to heal or decondition something. We all grew up, went through experiences, went through school, just how society conditions us. And so um, I think it was the best thing I've ever done for myself, and I hope to continue to do as well. Um, and yeah, say yes to your yes. I mean, it's a book that really you can see it up here. It's a book that speaks a lot to my philosophy of life and how I chose to live my life because I just always knew inside when something wasn't aligned for me, and my intuition always nudged me really strongly as to what I actually did need or did desire. And just life got so much better when I actually started to listen to that. And I think so many people crave to say yes to their yes. So many people crave to do it. And so this book is, for me, it's part theoretical and story based. I talk a lot about my own experiences and stuff, but it's also really practical. The goal of the book is to inspire people into action, because I know that it's so worth saying yes to our yes, because what we get to experience from doing that is just beyond what we could ever imagine. When I look back at my life and I think about all the things I would have not said yes to because I would have been scared or felt like, what if I fail or whatever, whatever, it actually terrifies me to think about all the things I would have not experienced. And literally, my life wouldn't be what it is today without that.
I'm gonna
So
ask
it's,
one thing there.
yeah,
What's one experience that you said yes to?
moving to Mexico.
Mm,
Yeah, that was moving to Mexico and leaving the traditional world of work to become an entrepreneur. Those two things were the biggest life-altering things of my life. And I literally would not be experiencing any of this if I would have not done that. And so, and these yearnings we're having, they're not random. They're literally, I see them as like whispers from your soul. They're trying to guide you towards the life that you are meant to be living.
yeah.
And so, in the Yes Collective is essentially a space, a community, a portal where we are building our yes lives together. We're saying yes to our yeses together because it's like this constant over and over and over again, and learning to have the courage to say no to the no's as well. So
Wow.
both of those things happen simultaneously. And so it's like our it's like our playground, it's our incubator, and it's where we support each other. And yeah, it's essentially after you've read the book, or even if you haven't yet, because when you come in, you get a free digital copy of the book. It's the place to be if you're ready to like take some leaps and live your life on your terms.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think actually, I may be putting you on the spot here, but I think definitely having another conversation around how you followed your intuition and where that's led you in your life and what you've experienced and where you've come to today. I think that's another conversation we need to have because, yeah, there's so much behind the whole, oh, I feel this thing. Am I supposed to listen to that or am I not? I think that's another conversation.
Okay, we can totally have another conversation around that. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, cool. Well, before we close, Jen, thank you so much for sharing everything you've shared today so openly, so honestly. It really shows that nothing is just as it seems, especially when you think about the material and outside world. And there's a lot more. When you're brave enough to go in and discover, you can really free yourself and start living, the life of your dreams to your true potential, and then have the ability to support yourself through the difficult moments. So thank you so much. I'm going to end with a question that I love to ask every single guest, and that is, if healing had a voice, what would it say to you today?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it would say thank you. Thank you for finally listening. Thank you for being brave enough to do the healing work. And thank you for doing it for you because it then actually has a ripple effect on everyone around you.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. All
Thank you for
right.
having me.
You're welcome. So, if this conversation resonated with you, helped you, or made you feel seen, please be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And come join our free Facebook community, Eat Better, Think Better. It's where these conversations continue and where you'll find real people walking the same path. So, if you're ready to go deeper on your own journey, whether it's healing your relationship with foods, shifting your mindset, or breaking free from beliefs that are holding you back, you'll find more support, resources, and ways to work with me at www.eatbetterthinkbetter.com. So until next time, here's to eating better, thinking better, and living a phenomenal life. Let's go.